Hey guys, and welcome back to Off the Cuff. It is the day after the Kenosha trial, and I thought we could have a look at a couple of the reactions. You know they're going to be good. Obviously, I said what I thought would happen last night, but yeah, let's have a look. So, Mayor Bill de Blasio, Anthony Huber, and Joseph Rosenbaum are victims. They should be alive today. The only reason they're not is because a violent, dangerous man chose to take a gun across state lines and start shooting people. To call this a miscarriage of justice is an understatement. We then see that he follows this up with the far right trolls, so that's normal people, who think it makes a difference whether a violent gunman got his weapon before or after he crossed state lines, are missing the point. 2 people are dead and their killer is left unaccountable. That's not justice, and they know it. Let's see how the general public are responding to this. So we have Canadian Flanders basically debunking what he's talking about, but specifically the cross state lines thing again. I mean, I feel like almost everyone knows that, but clearly, being a mayor of New York doesn't warrant you to be bright enough to actually pay attention on the things you're commenting on when it involves putting someone in prison for life. And also stoking tensions as well, which I think is maybe a more important issue. So then we have Billy Bob from here in the UK. So clearly you don't believe in the US justice system. Explain to the world where the miscarriage of justice has occurred. The trial was televised, open, and the jury selected at random. I think you should tell the US citizens why this case is a miscarriage of justice. Then we have Clifton Duncan, LMAO. This tweet is so detached from reality, it's hilarious. Okay, interesting. That was a really good response from Viva. So, the white guy goes free. Is that the message? Yes, Stephen. If the white guy is completely innocent and is on film being completely innocent, then yes, he goes free. Joy Ann. In the Rittenhouse case, the 13th juror was the judge. What an absolute. Mary L. Trump, there is no justice in America and we need to stop pretending otherwise. I'm not going to bother with that one. Vice President Camelback Harris, today's verdict speaks for itself. I've spent a majority of my career working to make our criminal system more equitable. Did you, Kamala? Is that right? So hiding DNA evidence to keep some defendants in jail so that you could use them for low-wage firefighters? That's more equitable, is it, Kamala? Well, I guess you do have something in common then with your ancestors who were slave traders and plantation owners. It's clear there is still a lot more work to do. But yeah, so there is the mayor of New York giving you some amazing insight. And there were also quite a few video recorded. Wow, such a boomer. Anyway, there are also a lot of video interviews and responses. There was tons, so I'm kind of just going to do one or two at a time because I don't want to bore you. So check this out.
I want to start by saying that it's funny that the same group of people who champion all lives matter just spent this whole trial telling us in America why JoJo and Anthony's life didn't.
Because if someone's trying to kill you, their life now matters less than yours.
So I just want to start with that. But today a message was sent to every supremacist or person who just opposes and disagrees with calls for reform, stories of injustice, and calls for equal protection, let alone equal application of the law in America for all people. You clearly told them to pick up your weapons, arm even your child, go to your nearest protest, antagonize and offend people. And if they react, armed or unarmed, say you fear for your life and you can shoot them without reprimand.
I feel like you and I think about things in a slightly different way.
You're telling people that when you see a building burned or a store looted, you can act with an AR-15 in defense of that building or of your life. But if you see someone get gunned down, you have no respected or recognized right to intervene or detain that person. You're telling every black and brown person that you can be accused of double homicide and even attempted homicide in the...
Okay, stop. Why are we talking about black or brown people? I feel like this guy and possibly this group, or at least certain members of it, are kind of like that kid at school that always thinks you're talking about them and like always has to be part of the conversation and immediately brings it towards them. or like relates it towards them. This is a white dude of German stock who took out 3 other white dudes also of German stock. I'm struggling to see how we're kind of relating this.
The judge will come off the bench and let you stand behind him within reach close enough for an ear whisper.
Because he didn't think he was dangerous?
Or you can now refuse to report your whereabouts to the court or prosecutors during the process of your court case. It's bad enough our cities across this nation still have to deal with unchecked police violence, abuse, and violations of black and brown citizens, but now we have to accept that everyday white citizens, even teenagers, can decide who is a criminal and who deserves to live or die in the streets of America.
Just don't attack someone. I feel like it's kind of straightforward.
Kyle Rittenhouse was an abuser of women. That's documented on video.
No, you're lying. He got in a tiff with his sister. Now, my turn. So Joseph Rosenbaum began to...
Kyle Rittenhouse expressed him wanting to take the life or shoot at people with a weapon during what he considered to be rioting and looting. That's documented on video.
I wonder how many other 17-year-olds, or anything olds for that matter, have said something along the lines of, I wish I had my gun when those rioters were in town. Not really the same, is it, when you give it context?
Kyle was more violent than any of those people that were out there those nights. Kyle was more violent than any of those people that were out there those nights. Kyle was prone to violence, and he should not have been allowed loose on the streets of Kenosha. Several nights of unrest with no loss of life until he stepped foot here. But these are the so-called heroes of folks who call themselves patriots and true Americans. That's sickening. There are states right now, Florida and others, either passing laws or attempting to pass laws where protesters can be driven over without reprimand. This ruling is no different than that. What would stop any person who hates protesters of any color and seeking them out and using these protections to carry out their violent fantasies with immunity? The city of Kenosha and its law enforcement will have to answer for why this was able to happen on y'all streets.
Yes, sir.
Why are militia claiming law enforcement conspired to send protesters their way for them to take care of the protesters? The loopholes in these state laws that are clearly in place for some folks and not others need to change. Let's be honest. What would happen if we put assault rifles in the hands of 17-year-olds from Milwaukee and sent them to the nearest suburb claiming that they were there to protect anything? What would happen?
The hands should be to the right. Just right, just to the right. Just right. By any means necessary. Justice! What do we want?
Take your time, stay in the back, okay?
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! Justice! When do we want it? Now! How we gon' get it? By any means necessary! How we gon' get it? By any means necessary! Say it loud! I'm blacking on ground! Say it loud! I'm blacking on ground! Say it loud! I'm blacking on ground! Say it loud! I'm blacking on ground!
Eyes on these buildings.
You don't believe that, you don't know shit about this country. So what we gonna do is we gonna pay a visit to their home. We gonna pay a visit to their home. Because we ain't talking to the police no more. We ain't talking to the government no more.
That's
because
right.
they are the KKK.
That's right.
We ain't talking to most white people because y'all are the KKK.
Oh, none of them.
Don't tell me that you ain't never been a slave on the I ain't never been a slave.
That's right.
But you riding around in my car.
That's right.
Won't even let me ride in the motherfucker right.
Hallelujah.
So I'm not talking to them no more. I'm in your house.
That's right.
Where you at? We don't threaten. We don't scare. Because we don't care.
And we don't fuck around.
You threaten us, we gonna threaten you.
That's right.
You said you gonna start shooting white people at 8 o'clock, we gonna start shooting, black people.
I feel like that's a slip of the tongue at that exact time you really don't want to make. Like, if you're in a racist militia, you need to make sure you get the right races when you're talking about who you're going to mow down.
That's right.
You said you gonna start shooting white people at 8 o'clock, we gonna start shooting, black people at 8 o'clock, we gonna start shooting white people at 8:05. Threat, counter threat. Because threats don't mean shit to us.
We all know that had that been BLM or even Antifa, what the result would have been.
I checked the news, and they had already shot themselves. There was a pretty horrific ND that happened, and I think it was one negligent discharge that wounded 3 people.
But this country continues to show the divide that does not need to be created, but that has always been there. And until that divide is addressed and fixed, we will always end up right where we are. Martin Luther King said riots are the language of the unheard, and y'all are still not hearing us.
Come on.
This has nothing to do with you or your organization. I mean, I guess if you want to take responsibility and be like, well, they were our people, which apparently, a year ago at least, you said they weren't. But I guess now it's beneficial in terms of fundraising and media spotlight. You're kind of claiming them, and you're calling the cheese pizza man Jojo and trying to make out like it was all fun and games until it wasn't. But like, how can you just continuously interject yourself in everything?
Fix the reason folks have to take to the streets to begin with, and then you won't have to worry about the loss of property. This has been January 6th all over.
Come on.
Thank you.
Give it up.
So yeah, there you go, guys. Let me know what you think. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and share it if you can, because apparently that helps these things grow. Maybe. But yeah, thanks, guys. I will see you again soon.
Winston stopped writing, partly because he was suffering from cramp. He did not know what had made him pour out this stream of rubbish